Nat 20. Hi guys, Merlin here from Mad Merlins, coming at you with the first in a brand new series focusing on Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer. So this is a brand new partworks from Hachette, and in this video we're going to take a look through the first delivery, which contains issues 1 and 2 plus our free dice tray. We'll also take a look at the magazine as a whole, and then later on I'll give you my final thoughts on it. And then we'll start going through each issue individually, taking a little bit more of an in-depth look at what the magazine has to offer. Right, I'll see you at the table. So here we are then with our first delivery of Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer. And as I mentioned in the intro, this is the first in a brand new series by Hachette Partworks, who have previously done a lot of Warhammer Partworks magazines. And this one focuses on another one of the most sought after and followed role-playing games of all, Dungeons and Dragons. So first off, what is Dungeons and Dragons? Well, like I said, it's a role-playing game. It's one of the oldest role-playing games in existence. Uses a variety of different dice to determine results of actions throughout a scenario. There are two main elements. There's, of course, the DM, who will be the person leading the adventure from the narrative point of view. He will be controlling NPCs, monsters, and bosses, as well as helping the Part 2 players get a more in-depth feel about the environments and scenario they are playing through. So, like I said, Part 2 is, of course, the players. These are the people who play named heroes, usually upcoming heroes, within the setting. We will see those in a little more detail because we've got some character sheets in the first issue. But they are basically the main protagonists, basically our heroes that will be shaping the future of the world through their actions and dice rolls. So next up, what is a partworks? A partworks is a magazine that comes in, surprisingly, parts. Each week you get a brand new issue of the magazine, and inside you get background, lore, how-to, as well as a nice, easy to play scenario, which is part of a bigger narrative. We also get fantastic, awesome freebies, such as dice here. If you have subscribed, you will also get in the first delivery a fantastic Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer dice tray, which looks absolutely fantastic. And yeah, so I think without further ado, let's dive into our first delivery. We'll take a look at issue 1, of course, first, and then we'll take a look at issue 2. So, issue 1, let's open up and see what we get. So, first off, we've got our dice tray in a fantastic vacuum-formed little packet. Just got break tape seal. Now we can pull the tray out and reveal our dice. So we got our D4, D20s, D100s, D10s, D8s, D6, and I believe a D12. Yes. So these are the generic dice that you will need for your adventures in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. You will require a few more D6s though. Each set only comes with 1 d6, where really you need between 3 and 4 for an ideal complete set, as the d6s are often required to roll multiple times to determine damage, etc., which we'll look at more as we get through the magazine. So it comes in a nice tray. We've got foam protecting the dice. There's a second layer on the bottom, added protection. But yeah, these dice are rather pretty cool. So we've got the D20 here. It's black on red, not the easiest to see, especially on my background. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's give it a good roll. Oh dear, a 6. Not the best starting roll, but yeah, pretty cool nonetheless. So That's our dice. We get, like I said, a nice tin. I believe every other dice issue you get a tin for the set. So pretty cool, at least. And now we got our magazine to actually look through. So we got the magazine. We got a handy little introduction to combat. We've got our character sheets and then a little pamphlet on the partwork itself. So let's take a look at that first of all, I think, as it will give us an idea of what to expect. So, start your adventure today with Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer. Find out more at hachettepartworks.com/D&D Adventurer. So, we got an introduction of what is Dungeons & Dragons. We have a Dungeon Master, we have the players, character sheets, dice, which are probably the most important part of the collection. And yeah, it just gives you a brief description of what to expect from a playgroup of Dungeons & Dragons. Inside the magazine then, we get advice on, this is our step-by-step guides, basically. We also get later on how to learn to create characters. We get pre-made ones to start with, but I believe later on we'll probably be given blank sheets to create our own. We got background information for the Dungeon Master, often shortened to DM, so how they work. Sections on spellcasting, combat, so two integral parts of gameplay. We have lore, and we have encounters. Also, throughout the collection, you'll be getting binders, so retail customers can order them at local stockists from issue 10. You get one free with your third delivery if you are subscribed. And then each binder is priced at $10.99, a little pricey. But if you get the first one for free, at least you have something to store the first few issues in. If I do continue the collection, I'll probably just get a couple ring binders from Smith's or the Works, pretty cheap ones that will hold the issues that I need. And then we got information about the actual collection. So each week we collect and learn to play the game of Dungeons & Dragons. We get little pamphlets every so often, so issue 1 comes with a guide to combat. We also get dice. They'll either be sets of dice, special sets of dice, dice with a tin, or individual large dice. Most useful for DMs who happen to roll just a single dice for certain table results in their secret compartment. And then on the back we have, of course, how to subscribe and what we get as subscription gifts. So first delivery, we get a free issue and a dice tray. We get for our third delivery a binder with dividers. Our fifth delivery, we get a DM screen, so this will be perfect for your Dungeon Master to hide behind and plan all their intricate details of the game. And then the seventh delivery, we got a little whimsical item here, a dice jail, which looks to be a laser cut kit we have to build ourselves, push together, most likely. And if you have a roll of bad dice, throw it in there and put it under lock and key. So yeah, issue 2, if you do pick it up from the store, is $4.99. Issue 1 is only $1.99, so pretty good if you are looking for just a nice set of dice, and if you want to just, you know, see what the magazine possibly has to offer and whether it will be for you or not. So yeah, that's that. Right, let's take a look at our first issue. So, issue 1, learn, play and explore. We have combat rules covered as well. We see our introductory heroes here. Expert D&D tips, learn the lore, and also how to become a Dungeon Master. So as we can see, our breakdown for the issue contents is sage advice, so an overview of what we get. So let's play, the world of D&D, structure of play, part B, the DM, so learning about the Dungeon Master. Character creation and overview, introduction to characters, abilities, species, character class and equipment. And then we got a small section of lore, plus our adventure, King Under the Hill. We also have a little note here about what comes with each issue. So the first issue comes with an exclusive set of dice that you will need to use in games in a stylish tin. New players can learn how to use them in the structured play feature of the issue. We also have a little QR code there to scan, which will take you to Dungeons & Dragons Beyond website, where you can get a little bit more information about Dungeons & Dragons. So first section is the basics, basically. So let's play. Once upon a time, long ago, in a realm called the Midwestern United States, a group of friends who loved fantasy storytelling gathered together. They were tired of simply reading tales about magic, monsters, and adventures, and wanted to play in those worlds. The system they created would forever alter the history of gaming. So this is a nice little bit of background into how D&D came about. The roles people will play, so player or dungeon master, and then of course the adventure. Next up we got a little bit of background information about the actual world itself. So the origins, the very first editions of D&D, you decide, so you are an integral part, you do help to decide how the story goes along. You and your team will decide the outcome of various challenges. We got a structure of play, so you decide who will be the DM. You'll need at least one. Everyone else will be a character. You start your story, the DM will describe it. Players describe their actions that they want to do. You roll your dice, and then you continue onwards. So yeah, here we have all about rolling dice. Goes through stuff like difficulty class, exceptions to rules, ability checks, saving throws, and the dice that you'll actually use. Next up then we have our section on the Dungeon Master. So it's integral for a Dungeon Master to have a set of dice for himself, often a notepad to help keep track of events that he has planned out, and tables for him to roll on for certain consequences. Next up then we've got an introduction to playing characters. So this just gives you a little detail about them, introducing our characters. So we got Krantor Franax, who's a human rogue, Irina Iloris, a wood elf fighter, Razagar Stormhelm, a hill dwarf cleric, and Merovic Farfoot, a lightfoot halfling wizard. So we got the character background here. We got how the sheet breaks down, so your different characteristics here for a start. Ability modifiers, rolling and adding scores. Explaining associated skills and proficiency bonuses as well. We also have a little background on species here, so there are very many species within the D&D world. We have 4 at the moment, so human, lightfoot, halfling, a hill dwarf, and a wood elf. There are of course many others. We have classes, which is a type of hero your character is. So in this case, we've got 4 basic character classes. We've got a fighter, who's your up close and personal, and also range support. We have a rogue, who's usually a dab hand with picking locks, disarming traps, etc. A wizard here, who is of course a ranged and buff spellcaster, and a cleric, who's a little bit of a mix of a fighter, a wizard, and possibly even a rogue as well. They have a very wide range of abilities. We have a look then at equipment. So you have armor, weapons, and gold is your 3 basic sort of equipment pieces. And we even have detailed information on the equipment packs that you start with. So each different class has a starting pack of equipment. And it's nice that they actually show them in a picture type of description. So we look at the burglar's pack here. He's got a backpack, a candle, a lantern, a little flask of oil here, a set of, in his pack he has 5 days worth of rations, a tinderbox, a water skin, 50 feet of rope as well, total of 5 candles, a bell, crowbar, a hammer, 10 pitons, the hooded lantern as I mentioned, and also 10 feet of string, and a bag of 1,000 ball bearings. So yeah, pretty cool. And each one is a little bit more unique, so tailored to the specific class. It's a really nice description, gives you more to work with than having to figure it out for yourself. Next up then, we got a little bit of lore. So this is focusing on the main town that we fight in. If you are a seasoned D&D player, you will already know of Phandalin. It's a pretty focal town for beginning adventurers. If you have any of the D&D starter sets, you will definitely already be well versed in Phandalin. So yeah, and then we have an encounter, which is King Under the Hill, where your characters have met up for the first time. You head to the local tavern to rest, taking shelter from a storm. You find the inn rather empty, and then you go exploring, and you will, of course, go through and deal with adversaries. We even have a list here of items that you can find, which are pretty cool. It's nice that they actually give it a good pictorial description of the item itself, as well as what the item does. Creature stats there as well, and on the back, the creatures and NPCs we are most likely to encounter. Next up then, we got a little introduction to combat booklet. So this is all part of the course, teaching you how combat works. So determine your surprise, establish your positions, roll your initiative, take your turns, and etc. Movement, making an action, beginning the next round. So actions are attack, making, casting a spell, dashing, helping, hiding, disengage. There are certain abilities that allow you to do a bonus action. Yeah, it just covers everything quite nicely and pretty clearly. So we got hit points and damage there as well. And then we have an example of how a combat would work, going around the first 2 rounds. So yeah, pretty cool. It'll all be a part and parcel to help you actually get to grips with the game. So let's take a look then at our characters. So we have Krantor Franax here, who's a rogue and he's a charlatan. So you've got space to put your name there as well, and we can choose your allegiance as we go through the game. Starting hit points is 10. Your hit dice is 1d8. You got your equipment all written down here, so it's all pretty well presented for you. Got a picture here of your character's appearance. You got space to write down notes, etc. Your allies, your treasures, your backstory if you so choose. Any bonuses you get there as well. Got Razigar Stormhelm, Acolyte Cleric here. And all the spells and cantrips they have access to for being a cleric. Then we have Irina Iloris, a Wood Elf Fighter, who's an Outlander class, subclass. So yeah, all her abilities. She's got a longbow, a short sword, a hand axe, and a quarterstaff. So she is pretty well equipped. And again, we got details here. Age 129, 5'4", so not the tallest of elves. I guess wood elves tend to be a little bit shorter. I always consider elves to be at least 6 foot plus. And then we have a halfling wizard who is a sage. So yeah, you've got all his background information. He has a dagger and a firebolt spell as standard. He's got arcane recovery. You've got his traits and ideals here. And then we got, again, his spells on the backs here. And a nice little pictorial description of him. Or her. It's hard to tell with halflings. So yeah, that is issue 1. Let's take a look then at issue 2. So here we have issue 2, our second magazine. So in it we get a set of golden dice, which are actually more yellow than gold, but they got a nice sparkle to them. So they've also been cast with glitter on the inside. Look pretty cool. And yeah, they're pretty readable from distance. The white stands out against them. Yeah, all in all, they look pretty cool. Nice addition to your dice collection. So in this issue, we have the issue, of course, and we have a beautiful, large map of the area surrounding Phandalin. So that's pretty cool. It's very handy. It'll come in handy for having in the center of your table for positioning in the wild. So each hex is 5 miles long. So yeah, pretty cool. It helps for your DM to help identify things and help describe your surroundings. So taking a look at issue 2 then, we have all about spellcasting, playing a rogue, and how to gain an advantage and inspiration. So we have Sage Advice, Part 4, Advantage, Disadvantage and Inspiration, 5A, Resting and Hit Dice, Spellcasting, Part C, Section 1, Spellcasting and Concentration for Section 2, Character Creation, we learn about species of humans, and classes focusing on Rogue and First Level Rogues. And then in our lore, we look at the Forgotten Realms, and Issue 2 is the Forgotten Mission, Adventure 2 is the Forgotten Vault. So Advantage, Disadvantage, Inspiration, so this is part of the game system, how you eventually improve your character stats over time. Gaining inspiration can be from a environmental buff or even from a bard here. They can give you a inspirational lift. The Rule of Cool, which is part for any game system really. Learning about resting and resetting your hit dice. So in between adventures and scenarios, it's a good idea to get a rest for your characters. It helps restore hit points. We got a detail here of how it works, which is pretty cool. Then we have a look at spellcasting. We explain about spell slots. So wizards with the abilities to cast spell have a certain number of slots that they can have for spells active at a certain time. We've got the anatomy of a spell described here, level, how to use spells, and then a bit of background on concentration. Certain spells will require a little bit more of a concentration from your character. Some will even require a ritual to get them started. And we have how to prepare wizard and cleric spells, focusing on our 2 characters. Next, a bit of background on humans. So these are some of the most common beings within the Forgotten Realms. So there's a broad spectrum of them. We've got a couple of famous fighters here. So Elminster the Sage, Catti Bree, Companion of the Hall, and Minsk Rashmar Ranger. Then we have a look at one of the classes, this one being Rogue. So these, like I said, in issue 1, these are kind of the assassins, pickpockets, and thieves. Often not to be trusted, but will most likely be your only way out of certain situations. Then we got a little bit of a breakdown on how to be a first level rogue, your sneak damage, your weapons that you can take. That'll give you a bit of an advantage. Then we have our lore for the issue. So we look at the Forgotten Realms, which is the wider world around us. So we just start off in a small section around the town of Phandalin, and then there is, of course, various larger cities, continents, smaller islands, etc. So as we can see here, the continent of Faerun, or Faerun. Yeah, lands of adventure, so dinosaur-like creatures here. Distant lands, zombies in the swamps. Other continents of the realms are briefly explained as well. Then issue 2's encounter is the Forgotten Vault. So after restoring the bar to a semblance of normality, you begin your second quest and seek out a Forgotten Vault. So we learn about travelling through the underground, how maps will break down. We got various things we're going to encounter. We got animated armor and a juvenile mimic. On the back we have a rough map here, which is partly, this is ideally for giving to your crew to show that this is what you're roughly looking at and what they'll be expected to encounter. So it's like a play aid almost. So yeah, this is Darren Edemath's map, which is given to the crew, given to your players, and gives them a rough guide of where the actual, how to get to the forgotten, I've forgotten the name of it. Vault, there we go. Ugh, brain is not with it today. But yeah, there we have that for issue 2. So pretty cool. We'll have a quick look at the dice tray, and then I'll bring everything in and I'll give you my final thoughts for the first delivery. So here we have our dice tray, which is exclusive for subscribers. So it's in its own little packet. So we just okay, we'll do it the hard way. Peel it open, pull it out, and then we need to fold it up. Like so. And then we have a nice handy tray that we can roll our dice in. Not bad. 15, a 2, a 7, a 6, a 5, a 50, and a 4. Not bad. Right, I'll bring everything back in then, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the delivery 1. So there we have delivery 1 of Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer. Pretty good first delivery. Gives you 2 adventures to play through for the first main scenario. I'm guessing there'll be bigger scenarios as we go through, getting of course harder and harder as you level up. Free gifts, so we get 2 sets of dice, one in a fancy tin and one just rather fancy on their own. So for the cover price, you get pretty good quality, at least for your money. This parcel, whole package for the first delivery was $1.99, because that included a free issue 2, which even if you pay $4.99 in stores, it's still pretty good, cheap value. $1.99 is the store price for issue 1, which gets you the dice and tin and your introductory stuff, which I think is a pretty good way if you're looking to help ease someone into the game. Other free gifts, we got that awesome map, which is going to be pretty handy, I think, for future adventures, especially when we start getting out into the wilds and encounter. And subscriber gifts, we got our dice tray with this delivery, and yeah, it's nice. It's my second dice tray, and I think out of the 2 I have, this might even be the better one. The other one I got was a 40k one, free with ordering my 10th edition release set from my local hobbyist, and it's a little softer. It's not as rigid. It doesn't have the reinforced board. It's just the soft foam pinned at the corners, and the dice tend to bounce out, whereas with this one at least, yeah, the dice just roll quite nicely. Don't want to get a 2. 15, that's not too bad. Come on, nat 20. Oh, 12, that's even more, that's not, yeah. It's a pretty good dice tray. It doesn't allow the dice to move. As you saw, that dice wobbled, but it stayed pretty solid after being rolled. Very, very nice free gift there, I think. So all in all, I think it's a solid introductory parcel. I will be getting at least the next 6 deliveries. I'm going to wait to see how it expands before I decide if I'm going to go for the full collection. But yeah, we do know that issue 3 we are getting our first set of PVC plastic standees representing our characters, and issue 4 we get a giant D20 in a nice little felt bag. So that'll be ideal for your DM in the group, or even particularly for a character who's played particularly well, they get the chance to roll the awesome Dungeons & Dragons D20 for their D20 rolls. So yeah, all in all, a solid little pack. I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm going to be rating each delivery out of 10, I think, from going forward. Mostly I've been giving 5s, but I think 10s might show a little bit more of height and expectation out of the collection. So each issue individually are, after issue 2, are priced at $8.99. A little pricey per issue. I think 6 would have been fair. But it depends on what we get. It'd be nice if in the future of the collection we get stuff like NPC and monster tokens, much in the same like of our heroes. I'm hoping we get more things like the maps and maybe even a fold out laminated sheet where we can draw our own maps and have our own little adventures using set of dry wipe markers would be pretty nice as well. That'd be quite a nice little thing to throw in one issue, just for helping the DM and maybe even the players themselves. I'd also like to see maybe some 3D elements in the same vein as the characters. Little plastic PVC buildable terrain details, maybe a rocky outcrop or something, bar detailing like tables and chairs. Well, that's just my hopes for the future of the collection. Whether we'll get them or not, we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how it evolves as it expands. But yeah, the first 4 issues are definitely a must get. You'll get some of the basic stuff that you'll need for playing the game, and you'll get a good grips of what the actual collection is going to include, and helps you get into the setting of Dungeons & Dragons. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I'm going to go through each issue in more full detail, although I've already covered quite a bit of each issue in this brief overview. But I'll have a read of them in between this and the next video, and then we'll go through everything and I can explain everything a little easier for you. But yeah, there we have it. Kind of annoying, we only get the one design for the cover, but they are color coded, so we go red, yellow, blue, green, I think it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess it says having to print individual covers, at least. You can just rejiggle the first cover and then add in the extra text and stuff and print it all quite easily. So yeah, it's a nice partnership, Hachette and WizKids, who have the license for Dungeons & Dragons currently. They do a lot of extra bits that you can get online, like I said, the PVC characters. So it'd be nice if they include monster packs later on down the line to help bring a little bit more life to our adventures. But we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. That's my review and thoughts on the magazine and collection so far. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below, and if you'd be interested in joining the Mad Merlins Patreon, where you can support the partworks tier and help put a little bit towards this collection. So yeah, if I get enough people interested, I will probably keep holding out and continue the collection to the end. But it's, like I said, it's a little pricey, $8.99 an issue, especially as I'm already collecting at the moment Stormbringer. I've already got quite a bit of Dungeons & Dragons stuff, so I'm more than a beginner. I'm sort of an intermediate level, but this might help improve me. Who knows? So yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time for more mad content and D&D adventures. Thank you, and goodbye.